Group, which is a community-based mental health provider here in the Commonwealth. We serve individuals and families who are often vulnerable to emotional crisis and distress and provide intensive services in the community. Our agency is also a member of the Virginia Association of Community-Based Providers, which is the largest group of private sector behavioral health providers that support Virginia's Medicaid population with community-based services. We've known for years that it is critical to provide people with the right care in the right setting, with culturally and clinically appropriate treatment. We also know how important it is for us to eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health, and that we must learn to take behavioral health as seriously as we take physical health. This law fits in with a much-needed system-wide transformation that is happening in the world of behavioral health care, especially as it pertains to the treatment of trauma and distress. From my perspective, this transformation should include ensuring individuals experiencing a mental health crisis receive treatment from a qualified provider when and where they need it, collaboration between mental health providers and law enforcement, and an end to criminalizing people with behavioral health challenges, ensuring that those in need have access to quality behavioral health care services in their communities, and ultimately ensuring that no one falls through the cracks, particularly those in marginalized demographics. We know that as this program is developed, a better defined role for private providers will be included. We know that this will be a collaborative team approach to meet the needs of our communities. As a community mental health provider, and as an individual whose professional and academic research focus on generational trauma and its impact of aggression in Black communities, I've seen firsthand the risks associated with individuals not receiving the care they need and deserve. When individuals' needs go unmet and unheard, it impacts families, it impacts communities. There is a better way. Effective crisis care that saves lives requires a systemic approach. And it's vital that we begin to train all community stakeholders with recognizing when an individual is in crisis. And I'm happy that we have a way to do that here in the Commonwealth. This legislation is a step forward to create this approach. Development of a comprehensive and integrated crisis network serves as the first line of defense in preventing tragedies and protecting patient safety. The loss of human lives is traumatizing and unacceptable. Mental health providers will bridge the gap between marginalized communities and systems of care. I understand that discussions such as these can be triggering and bring about feelings of pain and grief. And so we honor the lives of those we lost. We honor the life of Marcus David Peters, and we, as mental health providers, hold a space for his family and friends. I thank you to the legislative leaders who have demonstrated a commitment to addressing this challenge. We look forward to continuing to be a part of the discussions on how to improve Virginia's behavioral health system. I'm also thankful that we have a governor who, as a physician, understands the physiological effects of acute stress and chronic exposure to trauma. Moreover, we have a governor who recognizes the importance of treating our physical and emotional health to ensure that each Virginian is living an optimal quality of life. Governor Northam.
Well, good afternoon, and Tasha, thank you so much for your powerful words, and also to Vanessa as well. We certainly appreciate all of the work that you all have done in moving us forward. And to all of you, thank you for braving just a little bit of cooler weather today to be here for this, I think, just a very important announcement. I want to reinforce that this is really a solemn occasion. We're here to mark the signing into law of the Marcus Alert Bill. This legislation creates a statewide mental health alert system to help law enforcement know that someone is in crisis and that behavioral health experts need to be involved in that response. The law, as you know, is named for and honors Marcus David Peters, a 24-year-old man who was killed in 2018 while experiencing a mental health crisis. Behavioral health issues are not easy, least for the person that's experiencing them. This alert system is one way we can help keep people safer and save lives. We want people to get the help that they need. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of our legislators, but particularly Delegate Bourne, Senator McPike, and Senator McClellan for carrying this legislation. I also want to thank Princess Blanding, Marcus David Peters' sister, for her advocacy for her brother and her work to bring attention to this problem. I also want to thank Oscar Urbina, whose 15-year-old son Reuben died in 2017, for your advocacy as well, sir. The Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services and the Department of Criminal Justice Services will work together to make sure this law is implemented in a way that helps people. Now, I'd like to hear from several people, and I just want to introduce you, and then we can come up one after another. But first, we'll hear from Ms. Princess Blanding. We'll then hear from Delegate Jeff Bourne, then Senator Jeremy McPike, and finally Senator Jennifer McClellan, and then we will gather and sign these pieces of legislation. So please welcome Ms. Princess Blanding. Princess, thank you so much for joining us today.
Greetings. Again, my name is Princess Blanding, and I am the very proud sister of the late Marcus David Peters, a beloved son, brother, VCU alumnus, high school biology teacher, uncle, and community member who was murdered by a Richmond police officer on May 14, 2018, while he was unarmed, completely undressed, and experiencing his very first mental health crisis. Thank you, Governor Northam, for this invitation to attend this bill signing ceremony for the Marcus Alert Bill that you signed in November. I would like to thank Governor Ralph Northam, Delegate Jeff Bourne, Senator Jennifer McClellan, and let's not forget Senator McPike as well for bringing us here today at this moment. Please take a moment to pat yourselves on the back for doing exactly what this racist, corrupt system, and broken, may I also add, expected you all to do. Make the Marcus Alert Bill a watered-down, ineffective bill that will continue to ensure that having a mental health crisis results in a death sentence. Marcus David Peters, along with so many others, deserves help, not death. Although the Virginia Democratic Party is the majority in both the House, Senate, and yes, we do have a Democratic governor, you all have succeeded again at failing the people and making this bill, along with the CRB bill, ineffective. Let's not forget how you all killed the bill to end qualified immunity and refused to meet the 7 Richmond demands. So in summary, I say to you all, thank you again, because you all have absolutely succeeded in lighting a fire in me and so many others that is impossible to take out. I say to each and every one of you, fix it. The bill is an ineffective bill. I am going to make a change this one time in my life. And guess what, y'all? It's going to feel real good. I'm going to make a difference. Princess Blanding is going to be a part of making it right. And I'm starting with the person in the mirror, and that is me. I made a promise to my brother Marcus David Peters back in 2018, and I will do every single thing in my power to ensure that I keep that promise and continue to fight to ensure that we put community care and safety first and always, and that we ensure that Black liberation matters. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Just want to thank the governor for having us here for this occasion. But most importantly, I want to just take a moment to thank Marcus's family. When we were contemplating special session and what legislation we wanted to carry, the one thing that I was sure that I wanted to do was carry a Marcus Alert bill. And before I asked for a draft, before I did anything else, I called Princess, we talked on the phone, and I said, I want to do this, but I won't do it if you won't be with me. And she stood for as long as she could with me and fought hard to get us to this point today. And while the bill may not be perfect, we are going to work as hard as we can to save as many lives and get people the treatment and help that they need. Because for far too long, not only in the Commonwealth, but in this country, we have criminalized mental health rather than treated mental health. And so this bill may be a small step in that journey, but we're going to take that step, and hopefully we can take it together. I want to thank my colleagues in the Senate, Senator McClellan, Senator McPike, for offering the bill and shepherding it through the entire process. You know, when we think about what this bill can do, I think the sky's the limit. And if we have to come back and course correct and make improvements, each and every one of you here within the sound of my voice has my commitment that I will be there as long as I serve in the General Assembly, as long as I have an opportunity. We're going to get this right. And so again, before I close, I would just like to honor the Marcus David Peters family, the sacrifice that you have given does not go unnoticed, and it will not be forgotten. And I thank you for your commitment to not only this particular bill, which is formally known as the Marcus David Peters Act, but your continued dogged determination to help us right our criminal justice system and all of the other systems in our government and our lives that are truly inequitable and do not treat people fairly under the law. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Delegate Bourne. I'm Jeremy McPike, State Senator for the 29th Senate District. It's my honor and privilege to be here to work with my fellow legislators and the advocates as a part of this important process. To Oscar Urbina, who lost his son, thank you for being a voice, for being an advocate. Princess Blanding, the Blanding family, thank you. For Marcus Davis Peters, and to extend his voice to so many others. This is truly an important day. I can tell you, as a first responder in fire and EMS over 20 years, those on the street know that they don't have the tools nor the training necessary to respond to many of the crises, whether it be substance use disorder, whether it be behavioral and mental health crisis. There are so many other things that folks on the street encounter every day. This is a significant and major culture shift that says we are going to put in resources where it matters, to the front lines, to make an immediate difference in people's lives, the potential to interact and save a life, to redirect and divert people early, not into the criminal justice system, not behind bars, but into a place that they actually can provide a framework of support to connect the dots to resources, to meaningful change in people's lives. That's what this is about. This is the first major significant investment and change to Virginia's culture that has been so long in coming. I appreciate also the Department of Behavioral Health and the team that is going to continue with the stakeholders work over the next several years. This is not because something is signed into law that things change overnight. It takes perseverance. It takes tracking the data to see, are we doing what we said we were going to do? It takes the continued investment of the General Assembly and budget. Your budget is your values. And I know Delegate Bourne and Senator McClellan and myself will continue to make sure that the year-over-year investment continues to grow as outlined in the bill. We cannot give up. We must continue to invest. We must change the culture. We have the framework, but now it's time we implement and make a difference in people's lives. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your advocacy, for your voice, for your sacrifice in turning tragedy into change. Thank you so much, and I'd invite Senator McClellan to also come up and provide some comments. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for coming to this first step, but it cannot be the last step. Because behind the policy we're trying to implement are people. People who, for the first time, or the 6th, or the 10th, experience a crisis where they don't know what's happening, and they see someone pointing a gun at them, and they already feel threatened, and they act out, and as a result, they die. Or a family who sees a loved one in the middle of crisis, doesn't know what to do to help them, and is afraid to call 911 because they're afraid, will that call end up being a death sentence? That is the problem we need to fix. And yes, this bill doesn't go far enough. This is a first step. To put the funding in place to build the workforce, the behavioral health workforce on the front lines who can respond in a crisis. Because for years, our mental health system has been strained beyond the breaking point. We've known that for a long time. After a tragedy, there's a flurry of activity and a flurry of funding, and then we move on. We can't move on this time. We can't move on this time. We have to put the structure and the funding in place to make sure that what happened to Marcus David Peters doesn't happen again. And so, while this is a first step, it cannot and will not be the last. Thank you.